Okay, the stereo on my 2007 Ford Ranger has been sounding a little bit distorted, so we're going to test it out. So this is actually an aftermarket unit. I don't know if you can hear that distortion. Alright, so to isolate it and really make sure it really is messed up, we're going to go to the fader, and we're going to fade it to the position that we think the distorted speaker is, and I think it's this one right here. So that is the rear, and then when it comes to the balance, that's on the left side. And you can hear that speaker does sound distorted. Let's try some of the other ones. Let's shift it to the other side. It sounds clear. Normalize it again. So now that we have determined that's the problem speaker, we're going to remove it. And there's just 4 screws in each of the corners of this grate. It's really simple to take out. Okay, once those 4 screws are out, we can pop the grate off. The speaker is attached to the grate, and we just want to remove this clip. We hold this button down to do it. Alright, and it's out. Now, in addition to that, I also have some sub-speaker wires that key in on this speaker, so I'm just going to undo those as well. You're not going to have these speaker wires attached to your speaker if you have a factory setup. Okay, so let's take this in and take a look at it. Alright, so here is our speaker, and I just have this 7mm, and I'm going to pull the speaker off just by twisting. We got 4 of them to do. Okay. So now we have the speaker off. So we can get got this grating.
I was really hoping to get a good look at the speaker to see if I can find some damage that I could see, but the grate on top of it was covering up any visuals, and it just wasn't worth my time to try to pull it off. I know it's distorting, so I can just trash this. This is the replacement speaker I got. It's just a basic speaker. It's very similar to the factory speaker. People say that the factory system in the Ranger sounds really good, and it sounds good enough to me, so I just got a really basic replacement, nothing special. And I'll place a link to this aftermarket speaker so you can look at it as well.
So one thing that I'll have to make sure I remember is this speaker grate for the that we used to plug into the Ford Ranger. It's fat on one side and thin on the other, and we want the speaker wires to go on the thin side.
So make sure that your speaker wire hookups are on the thin side of that grate.
Alright, let me try using the factory connectors here to push this into place. Alright, now we have our speaker mounted to our bracket here, and it's pretty solid on. One of the things we're going to want to make sure we do, though, is use one of these. This is going to help you a lot. This is an adapter that will help it plug just right into the car. If we look at the factory one, it has this connector, and that's how it plugged into the factory system. Most aftermarket speakers have that. So we're going to use one of these, which has the end right on there for us. Got to make sure we line up the positive and the negative. you're having trouble deciding on your new speaker, which should go negative and which should go positive from your adapter, just imagine your adapter lining up just like the original one. And then in that case, black to this side, white to this side. As long as this connector, if you were to install it, would go parallel like that. All right, let's see if we can put this in. Okay, so I have my connectors on now, so I can just slide this into the system audio. I also have my signal wires for my subwoofers connected up to the same terminals before. You might not have that, so just ignore that these two wires poking off here. And all I really want to do is connect this up to this. And it just clicks in. Now before I screw everything in, and knowing that it's not necessarily going to sound the best right now, I'm going to try turning on the stereo and making sure that the distortion is gone and at least that everything is hooked up correct. So I'm just going to turn the power on, the accessories. So now I have it isolated to that speaker right there. So no more distortion. All right. We got everything hooked up. Let's try listening once more. I'm going to do it from the driver's seat, make sure everything fits what I expect.
Applying pressure, you applying pressure. The way they design you.
Russian forces pounding the port city.
And it's sounding good now.
Shelled a mosque sheltering dozens.